Good evening. Can anyone hear me online?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Good evening, all. And trust that you have a wonderful week and a weekend also. We thank God for another time that He has given unto us. After the festive period, we've taken some break for Christmas and also for the New Year festival. And I would like to appreciate everybody that has come online. I can see Moses online and Engineer Shegun Foster. It's good having you and it's nice having you online. It's going to be the concluding part of a series of lectures or training that we have started about 5 weeks ago on the topic titled Fundamental Skill in Audio Mixing and Techniques for Digital Mixing Console. Tonight, we'll be rounding up with the lecture, which is going to be the 5th lecture for this time. And I would like you to kindly follow me and pay attention while we go through all that is needed now. My page is being navigated. You can see that these are the topics that we have treated. If you are with me, you can bear witness that we have treated all this topic. The mid-range and all stuff has been treated. Equalizer. The equalizer also, we have treated equalizer. And yes, equalizer, equalization, creative equalizer, and corrective equalizer. Equalization, we've spoken about that at length. Shelving, and how it applies to filters for our digital mixing consoles. We've also talked about those ones too. Parametric EQ and graphics EQ, we've talked about all those. And I think we stop at volume. We stop at volume the last time we talked about this. Yeah, and we're talking about how our volume can be tempting to us in the sense that we like to increase, the level of our volume on our audio consoles. And if care is not taken, this can lead us into distortion range. And we need to be very mindful of our distortion in all our outfit or whatever we are producing. We need to be very, very mindful of our distortion range. Now, it is highly expedient. Yes, let me use that word. It is highly expedient that when you are talking of volume in a digital audio console, we refer to it as dB. That's the decibel level. 0 dB, minus 3 dB, minus 12 dB, minus 6 dB, or plus dB. Those are the terms that will relate to. A layman will call it volume. Yes, a layman will say, give me the volume. But as an engineer, when you're talking to your colleagues or you want somebody that you ask for dB, maybe you should increase my level by plus 3 dB or decrease by minus 3 dB. You can talk in those range, in those terms with whosoever you are working with. So I was trying to let us know that it is very important that we should understand how to use our terms whenever we are out there working on our console. Even if your pastor is talking to you, don't talk to them in a layman voice. Don't talk to them in a layman voice. Talk to them in a way, in a voice, in a professional way. That we engineers talk. And then when you're talking about EQ, when you're talking about amplifier, we are still going to that. You try to speak with terminologies related to audio sound. Audio engineering. That will make you have a space of professionalism in what you are doing. So anybody that doesn't understand, it will be very difficult for them to weigh you down or to look down on you. Because they don't understand, they will know that they are the one that they don't understand. But you are speaking from professional angle. And it's part of the packaging that we have as an engineer and that we really need to work upon. Now, I'm still going to move forward tonight. I want to move forward tonight and see, we talk about panning. When freshing out your stereo feed, there are a few stations that you should follow for very good reasons. Of course, rules are meant to be broken, but this really isn't the place to surprise your listener. That's your audience. Most schools of thought, for instance, suggest keeping your kick drum, bass, and vocal centered. I think you understand when we're talking about panning. Panning. Whenever we are having our console, there's a place we have balance, we have left. Your analog is, your volume is turned to the left. That's anti-clockwise. While if you turn it clockwise, you are going to the right. It's always there. So also it is on digital mixing console. Panning. Now, remember, mixing is a science and art. Stay too far from the trend of the day and most listeners will express dislike. But most certainly, express yourself how you will. Listen how others mix engineers' instruments around as you enjoy your favorite show. Remember that you are designed for clarity, not preference of ego. Now, you see, you cannot overemphasize this panning in your recording process. Those of us that are into broadcast, we understand what panning means. And those of us that are into studio production that will produce music, we understand what panning means. Sometimes you may like to separate your hi-hat and your percussions by panning them left and right. It brings distinction to your mix, and then when you put on a stereo headphone to hear it. In a live event, you may not know the effect of panning, you may not even feel the effect of panning because you are doing the stereo sound reinforcement. But notwithstanding, if you are going to record, or peradventure you have a broadcast mixer that is recording, it is expedient that a feel of panning should be created in your mix. It is very important. We cannot shy away from it as an engineer because it gives distinction and clarity to our audio sound and our music production. Majorly we deal with music, from vocal to instrument and all these things. Most of these things needed some panning. Depending on how you listen and how you train yourself to listen when it comes to the issue of panning, it is very important. You must be able to train yourself to other mix engineer. Like, okay, if I have now, what type of mix do you listen to music? Like, it is reggae music, it is pop or hip hop, or it is our local traditional or high life. When you are listening to those music, don't listen to them with just a single earpiece. Listen to them with your stereo earpiece. Most of these things I'm talking to you about, if you want to see this effect very well, if you can go and play one of the great music of Ebenezer Obey, Commander Ebenezer Obey, you will see how the panning system is. You cannot enjoy it, you cannot feel it until you put earphone on your both left and right ear. You will see some percussions moving on this line. You will see a lead guitar or steel guitar at one side and lead guitar on the other side. The pan effect will be so glaring that you will enjoy the music. That's what they're trying to explain. So as an engineer, we cannot say we don't know about panning. It is very, very important in our recording process to have it. And you enjoy it. So all I'm saying is that we need to train ourselves to know that it is also important that we do panning when we are doing our sound or whatever, recording or even sound enforcement. People don't think it is necessary, but I can tell you it is utterly necessary for us to know how to feel the panning in our ears when we are doing recording. Now, moving forward for tonight, I will want us to go and see what's the next slide. The next slide we are moving to should be that's 44 frequency. We've talked a lot about rate frequency, and I can tell you that we cannot stop talking about frequency because that is what an audio engineer deals with. It is very important, and let it sink into your heart, that as an audio engineer, what you deal with in sound wave is frequency, audible frequency for human hearing. And that is from our 20 Hz to 20 kilohertz. These are the instruments, these are the frequency we deal with. And at this point, your sound are at comparative decent volume and are spread around the sound stage. But things still aren't clear. Sometimes our sound still muffled, even when you do some setup. That is because sound pan close to each other may still be putting ahead in certain frequency range. You see now? So it means that when you are mixing your kick, when you are mixing, for example, your guitar, let me say bass guitar, and the keyboard, if you are not very careful, you will see some frequency in the keyboard, the low end, going into the bass. How do you want to distinct it? How do you want to separate and bring clarity and stand out? You have to know your frequency range. Your frequency range for human audible hearing, which is still, I'm repeating it, 20 Hz to 20 kilohertz. You must be able to know the frequency at which you want to deal with, you want to operate it. We have talked about this. Now, looking at that, that's because the sound pan close to each other may still be putting ahead in other frequency range. You solve this with equalization. Equalization. And what is equalization? Equalization is the aspect in which you separate your frequency either for corrective purpose or for creative purposes. You must know the frequency you are dealing with. Are you correcting it with that frequency, or are you creating or being creative about it? You must be able to know. Play each track soloed, and clean up any obvious problems such as we talk about this noise and sibilance. I told you sibilance. You know the meaning of sibilance. Sibilance is too much of is. You know the S, the T's on our mics. Those sibilance is it mostly rests on voices, and I think iHeart also produce that. iHeart and some percussion like calabash and shekere, they produce those kind of, you know, what do we call those kind of east sand that are not palatable, like I said, that are not palatable, that make our sibilance to be too hard. So in that sense, what you do is that you look for a way to cut. So which frequency are you cutting? You must be able to know within your spectrum, frequency range spectrum. Which frequency are you cutting to adjust your sibilance? You know, it is highly important that we have to understand this. I liked interesting and unique aspect of each track, while keeping in mind that the main goal is to carve a way, like a sculptor, yeah, so that only the best remain, while other sound can be breathed around it, coexisting in creativity. If you can't mix a sound as an engineer, you can't have a clarity in your sound that I can hear your bass guitar distinctly, I can hear your voice, either tenor, whether soprano, whether alto, I can hear them distinctly. Then you are introducing hi-hat, drums, kick, your floor tom-toms, your tom-toms, the crash, the cymbal. I want to hear them distinctly. If I can't hear them distinctly, then it means that you are not yet a good audio engineer. All this must be distinct. And how do you distinct them? It's your frequency range. That's where you work upon to distinct them. And bring clarity and let everything stand out, including the voices. Now, moving forward, you notice that in this training, I've tried to emphasize more on the frequency because that is the truth. I can say the precise way we work upon, and I will not stop. I cannot overemphasize it. Yes, I cannot overemphasize it because it is very important. Imagine each instrument now sounds great alone and occupies its own space. Its own space horizontally. Now you are ready to deal with the vertical aspect by considering each instrument frequency range. That's what I just talked about in relation to all other in relation to all of the others, starting by bringing clarity to tracks, panning near each other. Once each cluster of pan tracks sound good to you together, you can compare each cluster by using the mono trick mentioned above. This will ensure that clarity occurs in optimal listening position and environment. Most of us, I don't know whether we are very familiar of how to use solo on our console. It's on our digital console, they call it pre-listing or something on the analog. Yes, there's also solo on the analog. And then as an engineer, when you solo, you use your headphone to solo. And you can solo only the particular track. That's the line, particular line that you are plugged in, maybe your lead guitar. You cannot say you're an engineer and you don't have a very good headphone. Oh, no. That is one of the best tools you can invest upon. I can tell you. You can invest on one of the best. Look for the best clarity that give you good clarity headphone and buy as an engineer.